While the United States of America continues to put pressure on Iran, the United Arab Emirates and Israel are building a completely new system of relations and security architecture in the Middle East. The decision of the Emirates to leave the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and the OPEC Plus group has exposed a long-standing disagreement between the Emirates and Saudi Arabia. At the same time, Israel gained more influence in the Persian Gulf by deploying its air defense systems to the Emirates. This was the first time in the history of their relations. At the same time, the US president clearly likes the way new relationships are being built in the Middle East. But more importantly, Abu Dhabi openly stated that they want to get rid of Saudi Arabia's diktat and take control of the region themselves. I'm Alexi Peachy, let's discuss this together. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to this channel, like this episode and leave any comment under this video. Also, subscribe to my Telegram channel Peachy News, the link is in the description of this video. There we publish breaking news as it happens. So, today, on May 1st, the United Arab Emirates officially left two cartels, OPEC and OPEC+. OPEC+, and this has seriously undermined the established rules of oil trading within these cartels. And now experts believe that the decision of the Emirates goes beyond the dispute over OPEC oil production quotas, which Abu Dhabi considers unfair. They say it's not just about oil. If it were only about oil, it would look different. It's about a deeper rift in relations where Abu Dhabi puts autonomy at the forefront and not following Saudi Arabia, using oil policy as a tool to demonstrate its independence and unwillingness to submit to external dictates. Experts note that the disagreements have gone beyond politics and affect the personal and strategic foundations of the relationship between the President of the United Arab Emirates, Mohammed bin Zayed, and the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And right now, we are witnessing a kind of rift between the two most influential leaders in the Persian Gulf. And here is what Reuters writes about this today. Sources in the Gulf countries familiar with the decision-making process in the United Arab Emirates called it the culmination of a strategic split with the Saudi-led system. A system of oil market management that has developed over years of disagreements over conflicts in Yemen and Sudan, production quotas for energy resources, and competition. The oil management system in Yemen and Sudan, and they will gain the ability to directly control the use of their reserve energy production resources and this will determine its dominant role. And analysts from Abu Dhabi say that the newly found determination of the Emirates is partly due to the regional war and partly to a reassessment. And analysts. The current OPEC hardly resembles a cartel, and Abu Dhabi says the organization has turned into a system actually run by the largest producers. The point is that Saudi Arabia and Russia together are now dictating the decision. Манипулируют остальными. The determination of the Emirates is partly due to a reassessment. Everything is within the framework of the OPEC and OPEC Plus cartels to satisfy their own interest at the expense of others, and they don't listen to anyone when it comes to decision-making. The war of the US and Israel against Iran has increased this regional instability. Tehran is striking countries in the Persian Gulf where American military bases are located and has effectively blocked the Hormuz Strait, a key artery for the transportation of global energy resources. Therefore, the United Arab Emirates are sending a clear signal that they do not intend to make their production dependent on Saudi Arabia and will no longer comply with the rules set by Saudi Arabia. But as the saying goes, nature abhors a vacuum. Obviously, the Emirates are not in the minority or alone, far from it. Security issues have now come to the forefront for the Emirates, especially since the beginning of this war. And here is an interesting point. So, the advisor to the President of the United Arab Emirates, Anwar Gargash, publicly criticized the Gulf allies on Monday for their reaction to Iran's strikes. After the US-Israeli attacks, which mainly consisted of using air defense systems to intercept Iranian missiles and drones, And now the advisor to the president of the Emirates called this response the weakest in history. He says, "We're just defending ourselves." No one else reacted in any way. He says, what is this? Iran is attacking several countries in the Persian Gulf at once. And all these countries are doing is just defending themselves from these missiles and drones. And he says, the Emirates are not satisfied with this. And here is the most important thing. In Abu Dhabi, they came to the conclusion that the security of their country relies on only two partners who provided decisive support during this war. These are Israel and the United States of America. Israel supplied the Emirates with its air defense systems and even soldiers who operate these systems. This is extremely important and highlights the strategic choice made by the Emirates many years ago to deepen ties with Washington and strengthen security partnership with Israel. This also changes the nature of the relationship between the Emirates and Saudi Arabia in recent years. And I should note here that during the Arab Spring uprisings in 2011, both the Emirates and Saudi Arabia acted in close coordination, restraining the rise of Islamist parties, opposing Iran, and together shaping a stable regional order. However, behind this rapprochement there was a fundamental asymmetry. Saudi Arabia has always considered itself the natural center of power in the Persian Gulf, while the Emirates have adhered to a more flexible network model based on trade. Use of ports, finance, local influence, and so on. In other words, if you like, it's a more diversified system of relations. But the main point of division was, of course, the conflict in Yemen between the Houthis and the Emirati government forces, when the joint military intervention turned into two separate campaigns. So they went in together, but then they split. Riyadh supported a unified state, serving its interests, while Abu Dhabi relied on southern Yemeni groups to secure control over the maritime area. There were also disagreements regarding Sudan. Abu Dhabi and Riyadh supported different sides in the civil war there. The split is also noticeable in their approach to Israel. The United Arab Emirates were among the first to move toward normalization under the so-called Abraham Accords, deepening cooperation in security and the economy. Saudi Arabia refrained from taking this step, being constrained by internal, religious, and geopolitical considerations, which would make official normalization carry significantly higher risks for Riyadh. Therefore, it can now be said with confidence that the UAE's exit from OPEC is not only about oil and not just about quotas. And there are many more reasons for such behavior by the Emirates, and importantly, there will be many more geopolitical consequences from this decision. And now we are already observing that there is a certain imbalance in security issues in the region, and Israel is gaining much more advantageous positions in the Persian Gulf. I'll leave it at that for now. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments under this episode, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, and don't forget to give a like. If you want to support the work of this YouTube channel, you can do so with any donation or sponsorship on YouTube. All the links and details are in the description for this video. There are different platforms and options there. Choose the one that works best for you. I'll be grateful for your support. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye, everyone.